Welcome into episode number 2 of the Tony's Talks podcast. I'm Jeremy. Who are you over there?
I'm Logan and Tony.
No, you're Tony.
I'm
Logan's
Tony
next to
and
you.
Logan's next to me on my left.
Logan.
Yeah, and when Logan's going to talk, we're going to make sure that mic's in front of him, so we make sure everyone's audio is included in this.
Okay.
This is episode 2. We already have some stories, Uncle. I guess I could have mentioned this to you before, but we are at the end. We're going to start a little segment action. We're going to, at the very end of this episode, have an overrated, underrated segment that has to do with foods. Breakfast foods, lunch foods, dinner foods, and dessert foods. So start thinking about your favorite and least favorite dessert / breakfast / all meals of the day.
Okay.
Options, all right? But we're going to start today off with a little story that is one that we all know within the family. You've told a few times, and it is your trip to Italy.
Oh.
And all the adventures that happened out there. Why don't you give us the backstory? How old about were you? Who'd you go with? What were the big highlights, positive and negative, from this trip you went on?
How old I was?
Sure.
Well, Phil was 18,
Who's okay?
my nephew, so that was 30 years ago. So I was 27, 26, 27 years old.
Okay, and you were out. You just traveled out there. Why?
We didn't go on tour because my nephew didn't want to go on a tour. He just wanted to go relax and do our own thing. So we flew on Alitalia Airlines. 9
Okay.
hours flight.
So you
from
got out
Logan
there, and
Airport.
you guys don't speak Italian. Speak
No,
Portuguese.
but manja, everybody spoke
Could you
English
get around
at the
Oh,
restaurant.
so you were speaking English, not
Yes.
Okay. You weren't trying to communicate in opposite foreign
No,
Romance
this was
languages.
No, this was like 30 years ago.
You
So
weren't speaking Portuguese.
we
to
had
them.
the
They weren't speaking
lira,
Italian back to
no
you or
euros. We got screwed with the prices of the lira, but
anything. Okay. So you went out there. You were hanging out. There was one particular. I guess I'll just get into the meat and potatoes of this. There was one time you were pickpocketed while you were there. What's all
Yes.
that about?
we were told not to put our wallets and valuables in our back pockets because Italy was known for a lot of pickpocketing at that time of the year. It was on NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. So
So you
stupid me kept my passport and wallet in my back pocket.
and what happened?
I lost it all.
How?
7 to 10-year-old girl grabbed me and took my stuff.
Were you crossing the street? Is that how I remember this?
We were in the plaza, the piazza.
And someone just came by and grabbed your
Yes.
stuff. A 7 to 10-year-old girl.
Yes.
And you didn't get it back.
Yes.
What? Give me some more than you give me right now. What happened? So you grabbed her before she could take off with your stuff.
Yes.
But she did get to your wallet.
Yes.
Okay.
And Philip was cracking up on the side of me.
'Cause-
He never wanted to help.
Oh my god. But it wasn't that bad. You didn't have to go to the embassy or anything, get a new passport, temporary.
We had to get a new passport for Phil because it was expired. Logan let us travel to Italy, but Italy wouldn't let us come to America.
We almost had that problem when we tried to go to Portugal last year, but
Like the airport?
Yeah, we went through Logan. The passport was expired because, I don't know, Philip had gone to Portugal years prior with the Holy Rosary Band, and he didn't renew the passport, thinking that, whatever reason, and we went. They let us go.
So you only went with Phil? It was just you two?
Yes.
well, that's
I
fun. Right?
wanted to take him because I wanted to cheer him up.
Wow. Was it a good trip overall?
Yes.
See,
$4,000 later.
You spent $4,000 out
Yes.
there. You see some nice Italian sports cars?
No.
This is going to segue into something I want to
We
talk
didn't
about.
travel much because it was $4,000. We had no more monies. I had to go Western Union and wire money
Did
back.
you the whole Coliseum?
We saw the Colosseum, the Sistine Chapel,
Wow.
the Vatican.
Yeah.
The Pope was recovering from a ski injury. We didn't see the Pope.
Was it Pope John Paul at the time?
Pope John Paul II.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Go Polish Pope. Go on.
Thank you for that. All right. Next, I want to jump into your history with automobiles. This is something we kind of teased on the last episode. You're someone who enjoys a nice vehicle. Tell us about this.
Well, I thought it would cheer me up till I saw the bills. I've had like 16 cars in my lifetime.
And what kind of, you've had all
I
sorts
started with Chevette, which is like a Focus back in the early 80s, 82. I used Chevette, which was like a tin can. You could kick it and the door would fall off. Then I progressed. My father bought me a brand new Corolla, 85. More Toyotas, Mercedes, many Lexuses, back to Mercedes. Had an accident, totaled the Mercedes. Financially, went to a Camry.
Cost-effective vehicle.
Yes. Then made a mistake with a too expensive Mercedes. Lost that. Now I'm driving a brand new 2019 Jetta Volkswagen.
Works well for you. I like that car.
Oh,
for you.
yeah. Powerful.
But you've had
Go
some nice
Germans.
cars.
Many, yes.
And I guess I could kind of jump around a little bit. Part of me wants to get into what you do for a living. Obviously, we've said in the past you work at the hospital.
Wait, what do I do all my life or just now?
When you're working for money.
Oh, right now, not my other jobs.
You can explain all the jobs that you've had, but,
Okay.
you know.
My first job, I was 7 years old. My father said,
boy,
you
we're
want
going
something expensive, you have to work for it. So, what does a 7-year-old want? Gum, candy, gum, candy, gum, candy. So,
Your teeth are feeling that nowadays, huh?
I would go down to the Providence River, Indian Point Park, and we had to separate the cans because back then in the 70s, cans came in aluminum and tin. So the gentleman didn't want tin. He offered me 1 quarter, circa 1972, for 100 cans. And it took me, I don't know how long to get 100 cans, but I would assume more than a week because the river was polluted. That's why the cans were in the river. We don't do that now. We recycle.
Tell me you were going in the river to get cans.
Yeah, the edge of the river, like we
Oh,
went
okay.
for the
You
seafood
weren't in there
festival.
swimming or anything.
No. And he didn't collect the bottles. Coke had also bottles for 3 cents a bottle. We'd go to the grocery store and buy more candy with that.
Okay, because you've talked about this probably, I think, on a podcast episode before, but that's going way back.
Yes.
So after that, let's go high school, maybe your first, like,
Okay.
not
I got
college
my
age.
workers
didn't go to
permit,
college.
which you can get now at 14, and I joined a club called Qualitine in the east side.
Where's
I would
that? What do you do?
cut grass.
Wait, it's okay if he says locations and stuff?
Sure, trying to stay away from that.
I mean, the
but-
east side doesn't say the east side of what city, just
That's
the east
true.
side. I don't want to put that. It was a former school where you register. I'd go on my bike after school to the east side, cut grass, mow lawns. No leaf blowers back then. We had to rake. And I would rake sometimes 15 bags a day for $2 an hour.
$2 an hour, really?
1980.
It's like
$2 an hour was a lot. No, not even 1980. It was 1978 when I was 14.
Wow. So you went from collecting cans to cutting grass and bagging leaves. What
Shoveling
happened after
snow, but I didn't want $1 an hour, so I dropped that job.
that? Okay. What else did you do? Moving
Walk
forward.
dogs on the east side for the very wealthy, nice people.
That probably got you a lot.
Okay. And then as you were getting older, you started to transition to what?
Yes, my sister was a famous waitress at a local pizza parlor, and she got me my first job as a busboy.
Okay.
I graduated to the best busboy they ever had,
You were a good busboy?
making $30 a night in
You're-
tips.
You weren't like dropping plates of...
Circa 1980,
all the
many
plates.
plates, but they were cheap plates, like
You dropped it.
generic pizza parlor, where you can break one and it cost maybe 10 cents.
Yeah. Okay. And then you ended up in the hospital. How'd you get there?
After that, I was in high school still. I became a famous dishwasher at a local banquet hall.
World-renowned.
But all
Rhode
my
Island,
friends
yeah.
were getting drunk after work, so I didn't stay at that job because they would sip the leftover wine. So
You weren't into that sort of thing?
I was not into alcohol because I didn't know if I could handle it. So
Did you ever have a bad experience because you don't drink today?
I don't because I can't hold my liquor.
You just know
And
this
I
from
don't like the
experience?
effects of hangovers. Oh, many experiences.
I've seen you around
Also with the famous...
Anisette.
Yes. And the famous, what you call that now, that's legal. What's that name? The grass? What's that called?
Marijuana?
Yeah. I tried that once. I passed out. I don't do that no more.
Oh my
So-
gosh. All right, so
I never inhaled. I don't know.
my whole point of getting to this, because I started
Okay,
with the
sure.
cars thing, and I was trying to get into your actual work life.
Well,
I know working in the
I've
hospitals
spent
created
on
some
and
stories.
off 26 years in a hospital environment.
Yeah, doing
Support services.
various jobs, right?
Yes,
So
many jobs.
Well, what did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I deliver supplies, supply clerk. I was the only #1 housekeeper in the OR, and you know what an OR is. It's not like Grey's Anatomy or anything like that. It's the real deal.
It's intense.
Blood, guts, and you peek through the mirror and see open heart surgeries and stuff. And
Just a lot.
We were not supposed to peek, but there was a window to the door, so we made believe we were cleaning, and we looked through the.
So you got to see some pretty intense stuff.
Yeah, it
pretty
was very
firsthand.
fun though. A lot of fun.
Yeah, and you're not really doing that now.
No.
What are you doing now?
Now I work also with hazardous waste, but it's less gory. Yeah.
Still
Yeah.
kind of a dangerous element.
Very dangerous. You gotta
Large
wear
loads of laundry.
PCP gowns and hospital masks. I go through like a box of gloves a day, which my boss doesn't need to know. 50 pairs of gloves a day. Always protect yourself. Perfect hygiene. Wash your hands for at least 1 minute.
What were you saying about laundry falling on your coworker the other day?
Oh,
You want to say that?
The PCP gowns?
Oh yeah, my friend was using this humongous 400-pound dryer, and he spun it like you spin the dryer.
So by 400 pounds, does it hold 400 pounds of linen, or is it?
Yes, 400
Okay.
pounds of PCP gowns fell on top of him. He looked like he was swimming in the ocean. You couldn't see his face. You couldn't see his eyes. It was hilarious, to say the least. But I knew he was still breathing, so I just kept walking to my job.
Didn't try and help him at
No,
all.
no. I didn't want to be buried with probably 4,000 isolation PCP gowns. It was fun.
Not a job you would think would be hazardous.
No, but he tried to expedite the process and then ended up not working out the way he wanted. And he still does it to this day.
That wasn't that long ago. Do you have any other crazy things that have happened while you've been working?
Well, a 20-pound bag of linen fell on my head and almost knocked me out. That's how I broke my glasses that your father fixed.
Oh, yeah. Where,
Yeah.
where are those right? Oh, you got those frames
Yeah,
on?
yes.
No, you don't. Which ones are those?
Oh, these are the plastic ones.
Glasses?
No, the regular Tony's Talks glasses are over there on the counter.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Well,
Yeah.
those look good, though. Those aren't like... You had those safety ones on. That looks ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't
We
have
did
those
a couple
anymore.
episodes with those, right?
Yeah, because those were broken.
Yeah.
But-
I have one more trip on here that you wanted to talk about. Australia, which I didn't even
Okay.
know this happened. You've been to Australia. You've been
Yes.
across
Yeah,
around the
we don't
world.
even know this.
Australia happened when I turned 30. It was a 30-year-old only tour. You had to show your ID.
This was a singles
We
tour.
needed a visa. It was single, but some couples lied that they weren't. They were singles.
Well,
and
maybe they were.
they
weren't single, but they were
cohabitated
still looking for
illegally. Yes.
Someone who was single.
We stopped at Sydney first. That was the best hotel, right where the opera house is. You could see it across the water. So the hotel's on one side, and you go down, I don't know, a couple of yards, and that's the ocean, the sea, and that's where we saw the opera house from far, far away.
So this was an actual guided tour.
It was a guided tour, but then we took a tour bus many, many hours to Canberra. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
Canberra, yeah.
So we were there, the outback, many kangaroos.
So did you actually like experience
koalas.
wildlife? Were you there?
Yes,
What
yes.
kind of wildlife?
Koalas.
Like in person?
Yes,
like
we
not in a
couldn't
zoo?
touch them because they're dangerous. And we saw kangaroos jumping in and out of the woods and stuff. Basically, it was just, we slept in 2-star hotels, which wasn't called hotels back then. I don't know what it was called. They have a terminology in Australia for the places we slept
Like a
in.
hostel? You know that word? Hostel?
That name sounds familiar, yes.
Kind of like have a bunch of beds in one room?
Yes. How did you know?
Because I went to Argentina and I had to
Okay.
stay in some hostels.
Yeah, we slept in bunk beds, 4 or 2 to a room. I think it was 4. Men in one, women in another.
Yeah.
But then they changed overnight, so the tour
Like a
guide didn't
communal
know.
bathroom and stuff
Yes.
like that. Yep, those are hostels.
Use soap. I didn't think of bringing soap and personal hygiene with us because hotels usually supply that stuff. So, say the least, I took a shower with somebody else's used soap.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, back then in the 1994, there was no COVID, so
You're
there
no
was-
worse for it nowadays.
Yeah.
Something else we... What? Go ahead. Take the mic if you're going to talk.
Yeah. I've heard so wildlife is pretty crazy in Australia, but were there any crazy bugs or stuff?
I'll get back to him.
That I don't remember.
Up
I
there.
remember mostly the hours that it took to get to one place to another. The flight was awesome because I think Australia's a day ahead of us. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And the time difference did do some damage to your brain, but not as much because
You lose a whole day going out there, but when you come back, it's like you basically didn't travel at all.
yes,
You
it
can
was
travel
at least,
a day and you'll still be the same time when you
I
left.
think it was at least a 12-hour flight. and I believe it was direct from United Airlines. So, and it cost me back then like $2,500, which was a ton of money
Yeah, I don't even know what it's like to
back
fly
in
to
the 80s.
Argentina to
Well, now the
Australia
planes are much shorter in time.
It's got to be pretty
So
expensive
it's like
still. 'Cause
10.
I had some friends in college that went to, I keep saying Argentina, went to Australia
Yeah.
for study abroad. You know, they just want to
Yeah.
hang on the beach and not really do any classes.
if you have like
That's how it is usually.
how you sleep in free housing or free lodging, I mean, the plane ticket can cost you a couple of thousand, but it was worth it. I would go again if I could afford it, but I haven't been
If I
since.
asked you where, if you wanted to travel anywhere right now, where it'd be somewhere you haven't been?
I wanted to go to Israel, but it's not safe
Oh, right,
right
we
now.
did talk about this. Israel's kind of.
You can't go to the continent because they don't want tourists.
But
yet.
you've been to Portugal before, so
Many, many, many times.
the mainland as well.
One time in the mainland.
Okay, so
Have you been to Israel before?
No, but that's my bucket list.
okay. We'll have
Why?
to get
Because
you-
of the religious.
the Holy Land.
The Holy Land, and it's 3 different religions prominent in Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to see everybody else's faith.
Huh. Well,
Where I believe they worship in one
it's a good place to visit.
place.
Oh, yeah, there's like a temple there.
Yes, for the 3 religions. Well, there's the Great Wall, where the Jewish people pray.
Like Judaism,
Yes,
Christianity,
Muslim and Muslim.
and Islam.
Islam. Yeah, that's the correct pronunciation.
Another note I have here. This is totally off topic from any of the travel
That's
stuff.
okay. Let's go for
This
it.
is about Logan's name. Do you know where Logan's name came from, Uncle? I guess I should ask you first before.
Logan's name, yes.
You do.
Your mom had a book of names, and his brothers, mainly I think it was Jeremy the oldest, and John Austin, the more serious one, were picking names. They did not know Logan was a unisex name, but they fell in love with it.
I think we did.
That's how it stuck. I know it's a unisex name because a famous soap opera star is named Logan. So, Brooke Logan.
So we didn't name him after the Boston airport, but we did.
No.
You don't know where it came from. It didn't just come out of our heads.
No, it came from the book, I heard.
No. It didn't come from the book.
No?
So, you ready for this? It's
Yeah.
going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
I was
I
always
know
told the
this.
book.
Okay, so I guess I'll tell this story
Mom?
because Logan's not a little hazy on it. No, Mom had nothing to do with this.
Oh, because I know something else that might have.
Because,
played a role in this.
well, I'll
You
just
can
start
say
it.
after.
You're going to take that mic from me if you're going to talk, ready?
Well, I'll say it after you say what you're gonna say.
Okay. Well, so just to give a little background to this, I am 10 years older than Logan. John's about 8.5. I'm not quite. I'm 9 years, 11 months to be exact. So when we were at a point in our lives where we were like able to help choose what his name was going to be, which is kind of a big thing, I guess, for a 10 and 8-year-old to do almost. So we were big into Zoe 101 at the time, which, Jamie Lynn Spears. I know it's not the most. It's a little cringy for sure. But there's a character on the show named Logan, who I don't personally care for him. He's like the character is self-centered. He's very about himself, Uncle?
The character.
The character. not
Okay,
Logan.
okay.
This is the
In the
characteristics
show.
of the
Yeah,
guy. we
yeah,
named
yeah.
after.
I understand. Yeah,
And
fictional.
we're like, okay, I like the name Logan. I don't really like the guy in the show. And anyone who's seen Zoe 101 who's our age probably would immediately know who this is. So we like the name, and our parents kind of let us go with it, and that's how I ended up with Logan. It could have been another J name, I guess. There was
Or
a
it could have been
potential
some character out of the Power Rangers.
All right, so another thing about the name, I heard from Mom told me this a little while ago, like a couple years ago, that she really liked the name Logan because she kind of been like introduced to it almost because when she worked at a hospital that kind of worked with like kids with like disabilities, she helped out a lot with this kid named Logan who I think had autism. And that's
so that could be also why she was cool with
yeah,
it
so
too. I never asked that.
she liked the name a lot. So I guess that could also be because that could also have been why I'm named this. But I also heard that like another name that you guys consider was like Dustin.
Yeah, that was another character on the
Which-
show. I don't
Oh,
mind
was
that
it?
name. Yeah, they were both characters on the show.
Oh my
I
god.
can't picture your face now with your personality, Dustin. Dustin seems more like somebody from the out west somewhere, like
Yeah, I mean, I
Dustin
think
Hoffman,
Logan fits.
very famous actor from the '60s.
It turns out Logan ended up being kind of a popular name around when he
Yeah.
was being named that because there.
And each name is individually fits their personality. Like Jeremy seems like a Jeremy, John Austin is a John Austin, and Logan is himself.
Yeah.
A Logan.
All brothers, but very different in many aspects. Okay.
Okay. Why don't we jump into the segment that I was talking about a little while ago?
Okay.
I'll tell you how this works. So, we're gonna do breakfast food, lunch food, dinner food, and dessert.
Okay.
You have to give me what you think is the most overrated breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert food, and then
Dessert?
the most underrated. And this isn't necessarily what you like the most.
Okay.
It's what you think. So, for example, like scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
People love scrambled eggs.
Yes.
You know, if you don't particularly love it, you can say that's an overrated food because a lot of people like it, but
It
you
is
don't think
overrated because
you don't think it's that great.
you just eat it like scrambled. You don't know what's in it. But if it's like sunny side up, you see the egg yolks, and it looks like something that a chicken just gave birth.
So
and
you
the
don't like
egg
sunny
hatched.
side?
I do love it. Poached, I like. Yeah, and
This is going to turn into a segment about Uncle talking about his favorite style of eggs, which is not what I was trying to do.
when I was sick, my mom would take out the yolk and separate it and mix it with chocolate and sugar and drink it for
Whoa.
health purposes.
She would take out the yolk.
Wait.
She'd put the yolk in a cup with chocolate powder, like the baking powder,
Yeah.
but chocolate, and lots of sugar to make it sweet and creamy. And we drink that when we had an upset stomach or we were
Hold up.
undernourished.
That was a thing?
Yes.
Like
That
raw
not
egg?
cooked.
Yes.
It wasn't cooked at all.
No.
You would, when you're sick, you would eat an egg yolk with
It seems
chocolate
like it'd make
powder
you more
and
sick.
sugar.
Well, it was like something to give you a boost, like vitamin, whatever comes in an egg. I don't know which vitamin. Protein. I guess. Yes.
Huh. Okay, well,
Now,
get back to the...
that's the most overrated food for breakfast is scrambled eggs.
I have an opinion about
I
scrambled
tainted this. Yeah, we can all give our opinion on it.
Okay.
Logan can think for a second.
So
Okay, or he has it already, sure.
scrambled eggs, I don't mind them. I'll eat them with like toast. But they're probably like my least favorite like way an
No
egg
one
could
here
be
likes
cooked.
the... Oh, scrambled particularly.
Scrambled.
Okay.
Cause like, it's just it doesn't really do it for me, you know. Like like it's good to put in like put it on toast or something, but I wouldn't eat it by itself. And I love like sunny side up eggs. They're like over easy because of the
You know, a yolk you can break.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I just love that. Like
Oh, it's good for the audio.
I can like dip my bread in the egg yolk and stuff, and I feel like it tastes a lot better than scrambled eggs do. But
Yeah, it does taste different. Like even though it's the same egg,
Right up to your mouth.
it's just cooked differently.
Lower.
So that's one aspect. And another topic of eggs that just came about. My mom, being a Zorian, used to like to put vegetables in eggs. So she'd make
Common thing.
on a skillet scrambled eggs and toss a lot of diced tomatoes in there and make it like a soupy sauce. So
Soupy sauce.
that was you could say breakfast or lunch. Sometimes we had it for lunch, but a few times we'd sneak it in for breakfast.
Okay, so you're overrated. You're saying eggs are like, they're not all they're cracked up to be.
Yeah.
well, I like eggs, just not scrambled that much.
That's what I wanted to do.
Unless they're like really good scrambled.
Yeah. Well, fair. We've done Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, your father
scrambles
has
before.
done. Your father does great
We made
scrambled
them
eggs.
the way that
Those are
Gordon
good.
Ramsay makes them. Actually, pretty
He
good.
does it what? Fluffy? What's it
They're
called?
very
The name?
lightly...
There's a
like,
certain
yeah,
name
they're
for
very,
those eggs.
They're very wet eggs, I would say.
Yeah. Now we skip it to lunch.
No. I want
Okay.
your underrated food. So for breakfast, this is the food that people don't talk about a lot, but you just love it for breakfast. What would that food be for you?
Oreo cookies and milk.
For breakfast.
Yes.
You eat Oreos for breakfast.
I could eat Oreos all day when I was like Logan's age.
Okay, that's funny because I was actually going to bring up something too. Last week we were making tacos, and Jen and I went out and got food for that. And I saw something I've been waiting to get for a while. It was a box of Oreos, I think they're called. And it's Oreo cereal. I don't know if anyone knows what this is, but they're so good. And I don't think I've actually had it for breakfast once yet. I usually eat it after midnight or something. But I would
I
say
never
it's
heard of it.
underrated breakfast food that people
They're
should
at the
definitely be paying.
house.
Not just cereal in general, but specifically
You can
Oreos.
try them.
I don't
Also,
think your father
Blueberry
wants
is another
that.
ice cream cereal that I've enjoyed heavily.
You said blueberry?
No, it's called Blueberry. It's got
Oh.
like a ghost. I think it's.
Oh yeah,
blueberry
Knows
flavor.
about that.
that was
Simone likes that.
that was around 24/7, but now because of the
Sounds
sugar
fun.
content, they only put them out on Halloween. It's called Count Chocula, Blueberry, and Frankenberry, and you sell them at Walmart, like $2.50 a box, because it's only for Halloween
Yeah,
season.
I might have to get in on those because I haven't had those in a minute. I think we had them when we were in Quebec like last year.
Which I
Simone and
just-
Sandra brought them, but
All this talk about cereal just really gave me a good idea for either a podcast episode, probably better for a normal episode, and I've seen these types of videos on YouTube before, but we make a tier list of all the different types of cereal,
okay, that might be in.
all
we might be into
different
something.
brands, different types.
That could be our next
There
one.
are cereal restaurants.
Give it to him.
There are cereal restaurants around the United States now. They opened up a cereal bar where people can come and choose their favorites from the past time, like Fruity Pebbles from the 70s, original cornflakes with the rooster on it, or Tony the Tiger. And I don't know about these new ones like Wheat Chex, Corn Chex, and these Kashi cereals.
You're a real
I don't think they
cereal
have them.
snob, you could say.
Yeah.
You got.
I lived for cereal. The more sugar, the better. That's why I have a lot of cavities now.
What cereals have you had?
Mostly everyone. I like the ones with sugar, though. I don't like Wheaties.
None of that
and,
healthy stuff. None of that stuff that's good
we
for
were
you.
poor growing up, so my father couldn't always afford Tony the Tiger. I'd sampled the. I have a box in my house. I bought it the other day. I said to the lady, "It's for my nephew." She's looking at me like, "You still eat that stuff?" Nothing wrong. You can't tell what it is unless you really know by looking at the bowl.
Here, give me. So I would say eggs are overrated too. That would be more overrated
Yes.
than I talked about the Oreos. We're gonna go lunch now. A food that you think people like to have for lunch a lot that you're not like, well, it's not so special. You have anything like that?
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
Yeah.
That's a big.
Here, you talk about that for a second. What kind of sandwiches are you talking about? Give us
That are overrated?
Yeah.
Overrated? Healthy ones like turkey, tuna, roast beef, chicken. I say overrated because there are other options as far as sandwiches.
That's interesting.
Like
Going in
peanut
on the
butter and
sandwich
jelly,
like that.
ham and cheese.
Okay, if you had a food that was underrated that you would like for lunch, what would you say?
Well, in high school, I had a lot of pita pockets. It's like that pita bread
Mm-hmm.
with stuff inside. I can't really remember everything that was inside.
I have a very specific one. It's a grilled cheese. This is something, maybe this is just a childhood thing.
Overrated or underrated?
This isn't underrated. A
Okay.
grilled cheese sitting. So my mother used to take them, put them in the paper towel, put them in the container in the box, in the lunch box. And when you had it for lunch, it was like a coldish but somewhat crunchy grilled cheese. It's a very, very weird and specific thing that I just really enjoyed eating for lunch. Also, I would say peanut butter and jelly sandwich is also just an
Well,
underrated
maybe the
lunch food.
paper helped it not to be soggy because usually
Yeah,
grilled cheese
yeah, it
sandwiches,
wasn't-
if you
it
just
wasn't
put
that
in a
soggy.
plastic bag, it will be very soggy. So I guess the paper holds the moisture in the paper and it doesn't sog up the bread. That's my opinion.
So you said that like turkey and chicken sandwiches, those are like overrated. So and you brought up peanut butter and jelly. So would you do you say you prefer a PB&J to those, or do you just think that you look at them as the same, but the chickens get more attention in them?
Yeah, I think of them as the same, but the chicken, of course, does. But back to the hospital for a second. The doctors would eat peanut butter and apple slices,
Those are very good.
and they'd put the peanut butter on a tongue depressor and just suck it up, and they loved it. And I was invited to the break room, and that's how I got to
They would
watch
put it
that.
on a stick.
Yeah, the tongue depressor. They had tongue depressors in the break room.
Put that right in your mouth.
They had tongue depressors in the break room, and those things that they put when you say ah.
Yeah.
And
They would just put food
yes,
on it?
plain peanut butter and suck it up.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of the doctors and nurses did too, and they'd be talking like it's like a lollipop, but it's peanut butter.
You got like a front row seat to like Grey's
Yeah.
Anatomy.
I was the best housekeeper in the OWA. They let me have breakfast with them.
You just sit there and get all the tea.
They even gave me
Was
a
there-
gift,
Was
an
there
empty
a workroom
wallet
drama?
when I left.
Oh my gosh. Was
I
there,
looked right for the money. There was not even a dollar.
Is there as much drama between doctors and nurses and whatnot as there is
Well,
in the
back
TV
in the
shows?
day, the nurses basically they always said they became a nurse because they wanted to marry the doctor, which now they do still, but you know,
So was there any of that going on? Any
many
relationship stuff
flirtations.
on
You know, the doctor. He's a cardiologist. He's a eye surgeon. He's a brain surgeon. He's a, the hospital I used to work at was known for hot specialties.
So there was a lot of that going on.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, I guess we're going to dinner here. I don't know if I have an. Yeah. Okay. Do you have an idea? What's your favorite? What's your favorite dinner, Uncle?
Dinner.
Yeah.
Well,
Anything that's for free at your sister's house?
a lot of things that are Asian.
What does that mean?
Chinese.
We do Chinese food every Thursday. Every other Thursday
Yes.
should be, but it's kind of.
I could have it every day, but then I'd probably be bored.
Yeah, you got big chicken fingers and white rice guy, which isn't
Yes.
that Asian. We've gotten into some sushi though. There's an episode
Yeah,
of Tony
the
Talks
sushi
we
was
did
great with Jeremy, Jenna, and the whole Tony's Talks
Vegetarian,
crew.
yeah.
It's just the stigma of sushi, like raw fish. You think it's like something you just grabbed from the ocean and bit it, like the cavemen used to do many centuries ago. But no.
Yeah. Do you have any thought on this, Logan? Overrated, underrated dinner foods?
Overrated, underrated dinner foods. Well, I love the Chinese food a lot, but I mean, a lot of people have Chinese food. So, what's like an overrated?
You know what the funniest thing? I'll do a quick little story on this. The funniest little thing that I had when I was abroad made me think about this now with the Chinese food was I remember talking to like my host family when I was there. This was actually the boyfriend of the daughter of my host parents. And I remember talking to him about this a little bit. And I had very broken Spanish, but I was able to communicate with them. And he thought it was so funny because we were talking about Chinese food one day. I don't know how it came up, but he was so fascinated by the fact that like we eat Chinese food like right out of like cartons and stuff, like as it's because in Argentina I guess it's not as common there. So like the only time they've ever seen people eat Chinese food is like in movies. So like to him it was like, wow, you actually do this? It's like not just something in TV. I'm like, no, it's just something we eat. And I guess because other countries that just don't have as many, it's not as big of a melting pot of cultures. It's generally one type of food wherever you go. Argentina, it's meat, for example, and they have some other things. There were some good American restaurants. People come from the States.
Disposable, like you said, the cardboard boxes and the chopsticks.
Yeah.
If you're really into Chinese.
Oh wait.
Originality. It comes with chopsticks, so everything's disposable. Like you can eat the great food and just dispose of everything. So you could be at like a college fraternity, your own house, a movie theater if you sneak it in, anywhere.
I would always tell them that because I couldn't explain to them. I'm in Argentina, right? I'm thousands of miles, 5,000 miles from home, and in Buenos Aires specifically. And to explain to them where I was from, I had to tell them I was from between Boston and New York. Because that was the only thing that's, the landmarks they understand. They know Boston, and obviously New York City. Everyone knows New York City. So that was the only way you could tell them, like, where's Rhode Island? Everyone's like, you say Long Island, people think that's where you're from.
Yeah. If you say Rhode Island, I mean,
Say Rhode
there is a
Island,
lot
Long
of
Island.
history in the United States that came from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
We were the ones that had the Gatsby
13th
Parade,
colony.
Gatsby pre-French Revolution, and we have the first known synagogue in the whole United States.
And we have mansions where celebrities like to get married.
Yes.
So, and now there's a lot of movies being filmed in Rhode Island. That's kind of a fun thing we could talk about
Yes.
too. But we'll get to the end of this segment quick.
It's a
'cause we've
small
dragged it out.
state, but guess who lives in Rhode Island? One of the
Uncle
top
Tony?
singers in
Oh.
America right now.
Who's that? Oh,
Taylor
Swift.
Swiftie.
Yeah, she got her house in Watch Hill in
Yeah.
Westerly, right? She's almost Connecticut.
Going
but-
back to the food thing,
Yeah.
I thought of my answers.
What is it?
So, overrated. I mean, I guess this isn't like something we talked about a lot. It's just something I don't really enjoy that much. But whenever Mom brings home a rotisserie chicken,
Oh my God, not a bird.
unless
We hear this joke.
there's
Mashed potatoes.
unless there's like a good side with it, I'm not looking forward
Mom's
to
getting
that.
a bird.
to that
She's getting
meal
a
as
whole,
much.
whole chicken from like wherever.
And then for
Well,
underrated,
supermarket.
That's a great idea. I believe I'd go
Put it-
with that too. Rotisserie chicken without condiments or sidings is no. We do use some sauces from another
Oh, I
famous
am.
chicken
I am going
restaurant.
to Wright's Chicken Farm tonight, which I can talk about that. It's a Rhode Island staple. I'm going to be going there. Uncle, tell people about this place. You've been there before.
Semi underrated, yeah.
What place?
We'll get to your underrated. You've been to Wright's Chicken Farm.
Yes, I was there many decades ago. Because we were poor, so it's an all-you-can-eat place. So my cousins would take us.
It's not very common, but
No.
it's literally just you pay. It's like it's family style. So
Yes.
literally you just keep eating. You pay like a certain price to go in, and they just keep putting plates of food in front of you. You can imagine that you see a lot of stuff going there. It's great. Food's really good. Not a bad word to say about that, but you can overeat very quickly when you go there. So we'll see how tonight goes.
They assume that you don't overeat. So, like, say, you go there and it's $25 a person, you might eat just $5 worth of chicken, but you get to experience the.
Well, they got the pasta,
taste.
they got the salad. It's just, it's something about it. If you come to Rhode Island, you should definitely check it out. But that was not where I was trying to go with this segment. Well, you have an underrated dinner food over there?
Yeah. So, when it comes to Italian food, a lot of it's popular, like chicken parm.
That's a big Rhode
pasta,
Island thing, too.
meatballs. However, one
There's
thing
a lot
that
of
isn't, I
Italians
don't
here.
think is talked about much, It's a very nice eggplant parm.
You like it, a good eggplant?
I love a good eggplant parm.
Okay. That's a good
Especially
one.
when
Shout out to who makes great eggplant palm in your family.
Who's that?
your sister, our mother.
And famous brother-in-law, João.
One who cooks a lot of your foods.
A chef by trade.
Didn't Vavá make it too?
Vavá made it Portuguese style.
Yeah, Portuguese style is called
Breadcrumbs,
eggplant.
Yes, eggplant. And she, I don't know how she learned how to make it. She fried the eggplant. It's a vegetable, you know.
Yeah.
Portuguese people knew how to make many foods out of vegetables because we were poor and we grew as many vegetables as we could.
Well, that's one thing there's no shortage of in Rhode Island is chicken parm. With all the Italians around here, it's a big.
I don't know if
big hub
eggplant
for
is Italian. It's probably Greek, I would
no,
think.
but I'm talking about chicken parm.
Well,
which
it's like I guess
think
it's I guess it's like cooked Italian. Like it has the sauce, it has the parm. It's like chicken parm, but with eggplant. And like you said that it has Portuguese styles like breadcrumbs
Yes.
and stuff. So then that's the way mom makes it.
Progresso breadcrumbs. The
Yeah.
brand Progresso.
That's the way mom
like-
makes it. So is that based off of how your mom made it?
Yes. Now the Latinos use Goya brand, but the Portuguese back in the 70s, 80s, 60s was Progresso. But I think Progresso is Italian. I'm not sure.
I'm a fan of a really
I'm
good steak
confused.
dinner, but it has to be like a good steak. You don't need steak for dinner is like people think of that as just a luxury, which maybe it is, but if you have like a really nice like steakhouse steak, that's I wouldn't say that's underrated.
Are
'cause
we
a lot
allowed
of
to
people
say
like steak, but-
Longhorns? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not talking. I'm talking about like a restaurant that's not
Oh,
a chain.
yeah.
You go
Yes.
to somewhere that's like a steakhouse,
Yes.
not like a Longhorn or a Texas. A Texas Roadhouse is fine, but no shame about that. But
Although when Dad brought home those like Omaha steaks, or is that mom that got that as like an award or something?
Probably.
Like and those filet mignons with the
Filet
bacon.
mignon?
Like the couple
Mignons.
nights we had the pleasure of eating those were good nights.
With the
I don't
bacon.
think I was invited that day.
Yeah, steak wrapped in bacon.
It wasn't
Uncle missed
much
that
to
invite, but
because I eat at my family's house once every other day. There's only so much of
Give or
Tony
take.
they can take, you know.
Oh,
3 days a week is a limit.
we spent a lot of time with Tony,
Yes.
which is good. We love.
They are my familia.
Dessert, underrated. Or your favorite dessert? This is
Uh,
just turning into favorite. But
Sundays, ice cream Sundays.
you like ice cream sundaes, but is there like hold that from him? Put
Yes.
it right. yeah.
Okay, ice cream Sundays.
Put it. Go like to your chest. Like you can put it below your chest.
That's
Not okay. That's a little weird.
that's my overrated
That's fine.
dessert.
Almost every time you have it, I want to fix it. Okay, so wait, what's overrated?
Ice cream Sundays.
No, it's not overrated because you think they're good.
They're very
This whole
good.
concept is getting muddled here.
But overrated.
But
so
overrated is a dessert that you think
more
people
popular than you
make
think
too
it's
much of a
good.
deal about. Like they think you don't think it's that good, but people think it's good. Do you have one of those? I have one right now for you. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Cake.
Cake.
Period.
Yes.
Not period, because actually I should say my underrated is also a type of cake. But cake in general, overrated dessert, big time. In general, it's just not good.
Is Greg's a big chain outside of Rhode Island?
No, just
really.
in Rhode Island.
No, but Greg's cakes are good though. We
Yeah.
can talk about that.
A lot of cakes.
If a cake, let me clarify, a cake done right, beautiful.
Like
but
a
there's so
nice-
many bad cakes you can get too. It's just not.
A nice Greg's chocolate cake.
Shout
Oh
out
my
to
God.
Greg's.
Chocolate cake or death by chocolate? There's two different.
Well, I haven't had Death by Chocolate much because my mom won't get it because she thinks it's too much.
Which it kind of is, but
I want to try it. I think I probably have,
you've
but,
definitely had it before.
but chocolate layer, very good. Also, carrot cake made
Yeah,
by
again.
Uncle Pete,
Oh yes, we have an uncle.
So
that does
good.
a really good carrot cake.
very good.
Yes. So I should clarify. Cake is one of those things that's very easy to screw up. Like if you don't have a good cake, it's not worth even eating. A good carrot cake, I love. A good chocolate cake. I'm not like a huge vanilla guy, but like funfetti, I can get on board with that.
Greg's has white cake.
And then like cheesecake, but a cheesecake at this point you're basically getting into a totally different dessert. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
And
But
like
also
cookie
same
cakes
thing.
are good.
A bad cheesecake can be really bad. A good cheesecake can be really good. There's like a lot of margin for error on those things. And then my underrated, just because I'm thinking about it right now, and it kind of has to do with this, is a flourless chocolate cake. A nice,
really like
thick,
like and dense.
very dense. You're gonna need a thick glass of milk or some sort of drink to get you through this. But a nice, thick,
They actually make cakes like that?
dense,
Yeah.
flourless chocolate. I had one like last week,
Like a
no, a couple days
gluten-free.
ago actually.
Oh, gluten free. Okay, I was gonna say what
Yeah.
holds the cake together.
They don't really rise at all. It's just thick, which I enjoy with like a raspberry drizzle or something like
Oh.
that. Ooh.
We've had that a lot, like different restaurants.
Oh, but you know what? Oh, I have another. There's so many dessert I could go on. I don't know why.
It's like a little after 5 now.
Well,
Yeah.
little known
we'll
fact.
finish up on this, but
The French are supposed to be one of the top 3 world known dessert countries.
okay.
But a shout out to Portugal. If you go to the continent, they're also well known in the pastry genre. Excuse me.
So, what would your favorite Portuguese pastry be? There's a few.
Cajadas. Which
Those are
is
the
like
cupcakes, right?
Cupcakes with a lot of different ingredients inside.
But they're like custard?
From beans
Whoa.
to custard to fruit to you name it. They
You
can
get it
make
with beans?
cupcakes out of everything. Yes, it's called Cajadas Feijão.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever had that.
They sell that at the Portuguese local bakeries.
Huh. I guess so. So my number one underrated dessert is definitely it's a pie, which I think pies get underrated in general. But a strawberry rhubarb pie is the number one underrated dessert option.
Your father made one recently.
yeah.
Superb.
I didn't have any of that.
I totally forgot it even
Probably because
existed
I had
too.
4 pieces.
That I could eat day and night. I could eat that 5 days a week for dessert.
Homemade.
Yes.
I never tried a store-bought one.
You know, you want a good one. Yeah, for sure. And I also learned recently that rhubarb leaves are toxic. So that you have to cut them off the plant, or else if you eat them, they're not good for you at all. Oh, jeez. This is an audio medium, Uncle. Yeah. You've had strawberry rhubarb pie?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't have an overrated yet, but I have an underrated one. And it's probably underrated mainly because it's like
Excuse me.
it's like not American. I guess this can also relate to like the Portuguese desserts, but the sweet rice, like there's another name for it.
Arroz doce.
You put that in front of him.
Okay, I didn't know that. But
Arroz doce.
That's sweet rice?
That's arroz is rice sweet.
Oh.
It's sometimes a lot of the translation from English to Portuguese is backwards or reversed. Like arroz is rice and doce is sweet. So
How do you
it's
say
rice
Jeremy is your
sweet.
favorite nephew in Portuguese?
Jeremias é o meu preferido sobrinho.
Okay.
don't clip it out of context.
Oh, I'm going to clip it out of context and use it all the time.
But I don't have a favorite nephew or niece. I consider the 9 of them the same.
I don't know.
Different personalities, but the same.
Okay. Fair enough.
But we should probably describe sweet rice a little bit, right? For all the listeners that have no idea. So
it's like a plate of rice.
it's like this
The ingredients.
like rice,
Eggs.
eggs, cinnamon, and like
Milk.
nice creamy stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like
Condensed milk.
yeah, it looks like yellow kind of rice, but it's like in a pan. It's very, I think it's usually served cold. It's like very creamy. So it's like you're eating it and it's like you can't even really tell it's rice. It's like more like I guess a pudding. Rice pudding, that's also
Oh,
right.
yeah. It's
It's
similar.
also called that. And like
English translation, yes.
yeah.
Rice pudding.
And there's like cinnamon usually on top.
Glazed, yeah. People sprinkle it all over for the sweetness, I believe. Yeah. And
So-
it tastes good hot, too. If you ever eaten it warm from your mom's pan, it tastes different.
Right. It's nothing.
And so like our grandma, your mom, she used to make this a lot and she made it really, really good. But do we have the recipe for that? I don't think so.
No, everything was made by her brain. A lot of the Portuguese first generation was always like no recipe. They just put a pinch of this, a pinch of that, and
Bada bing,
you
bada
still
boom.
ate it.
But we do have a bakery that has some pretty good sweet rice that we get from, so it's good. We're good.
It's like the same.
Do you have any final stories? Anything that's been
Oh yeah, we should
running through your head the last couple of weeks that you want to just get off your chest, speak to the people about, let them talk about what's going on in Tony's life recently?
Tony's life is amazing. At work, we've been so busy because of many factors, mainly because people were unemployed. Now they're looking for jobs, so thank God they are finding jobs
That's
that
beautiful.
they can do. Yeah.
All
That's
right.
all I have.
Well, if that's all you got, we'll save some for next week. Then
Okay.
we'll get.
Thanks
you
for
going.
watching podcast number 2. I have Jeremy on my right and Logan on my left.
We
Yep.
will see you guys.
We'll see you next time.